What if the moment you finally stopped caring is the moment she starts falling apart? Really think about that. While you were sitting there staring at your phone, wondering where it all went wrong, replaying every word she ever said, she was fine. She was moving on like you never mattered. Cold, silent, detached. And yet, here's the truth no one tells you. The moment you go still, the moment you stop chasing, stop explaining, stop bleeding out emotionally, that's when her reality cracks. That's when the panic begins. Not in you, in her. Because silence is power, detachment is power. You think healing makes you weaker, more vulnerable, but it doesn't. It makes you untouchable. See, most men self-destruct after heartbreak. They drink, they text, they spiral. But the few who learn to sit with the pain, to own it, to rebuild without broadcasting their suffering, those men become dangerous, calm, confident, stoic. And when she senses that shift, when she feels that emotional umbilical cord has been cut for good, it scares her. Because suddenly, you're no longer orbiting her world. You're not waiting for her to come back. You've become the man she never thought you'd be without her. This isn't about making her regret. This is about reclaiming yourself. You are not what she walked away from. You are what rises from the ashes of that betrayal. And the beauty of Stoicism is this. You don't react to her silence with desperation. You respond with stillness. You don't try to convince her of your worth. You become a man so centered, so self-possessed, that her absence becomes irrelevant. So ask yourself, are you ready to stop being the man who waits and become the man who walks? If you're done handing your power to someone who couldn't see your value, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. My silence is my strength. Now let's begin. Number 1, the illusion of permanence. You thought she'd always be there, didn't you? That no matter how bad it got, the arguments, the cold silences, the emotional distance, you believed she would stick around. That somehow deep down she was a constant in your life. But that belief, that comfort, it was an illusion. One of the most dangerous illusions a man can fall into. Because the moment you believe someone is permanent, you stop showing up with presence, you stop growing, you start clinging. And the Stoic man knows better. He knows that everything you love is on loan from the universe. Nothing is truly yours. Not people, not emotions, not even your peace. You must earn them daily and be willing to release them without breaking. You convinced yourself that love meant forever. But love is not ownership. Love is not control. And love doesn't always last. That's hard to swallow, but it's liberating when you accept it. You thought the connection was real, deep, maybe even sacred. But connection without truth is just fantasy. You were loyal to a version of her you created in your head, not the reality standing in front of you. And when she left, you didn't just lose her, you lost the future you built around her. That fake certainty you were clinging to, it shattered. And that's why it hurts so damn much. But here's where the power comes in. Once you kill the illusion of permanence, you stop fearing endings. You stop gripping people so tight they slip through your fingers. You stop making gods out of humans. You start focusing inward on what you can control. Your discipline, your response, your energy. You understand that loss isn't always a tragedy. Sometimes it's a clean break from something that was already bleeding you dry. The man who knows that nothing lasts forever becomes incredibly calm, detached, unbothered, because he doesn't need things to last. He just needs them to be real while they're here. And when they go, he lets them go. No begging, no chasing, just silence and growth. And that kind of peace, that's what makes her start to panic, because the man she thought would collapse simply disappears into his evolution. Number 2, the collapse. This is the part no one warns you about. The collapse, the free fall, when she leaves, or worse, when she stays but goes cold. You feel it in your chest first, like someone kicked your soul out of your own body. Your appetite vanishes. You can't sleep. You can't think straight. Every song, every memory, every place you used to go together, it haunts you. You keep hoping it's just a phase, that she'll come back, that the version of her who loved you still exists somewhere. But she doesn't. That version is dead. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can stop digging through the rubble of a love that burned to the ground. You thought pain like this would kill you, that you'd never get back up. But here's the truth most men never understand. This is the moment you get to be reborn. The collapse is necessary, because the version of you that was dependent, desperate, reactive, that version needed to die. You needed to hit bottom to realize who you really are without her. And this is where Stoicism becomes your lifeline. Because the Stoic doesn't fight the fall. He lets go. He accepts it. He sits in the fire and doesn't flinch. He doesn't numb it with distractions or pretend it doesn't hurt. He faces it, and through that pain, he forges something stronger than before. Self-control. This is the part where most men lose themselves. They spiral. They drunk text her, they beg, they collapse into victimhood. But not you, not anymore. You're going to use this collapse as fuel. Every tear, every sleepless night, every ounce of betrayal, you're going to transmute it into power, into clarity, into an unshakable mindset. Because once you've felt the kind of heartbreak that almost kills you and survived it, nothing else can touch you. She thought you'd break. But what's really happening? You're breaking open. And inside that break is the beginning of a new man. One who doesn't chase. One who doesn't need closure. One who doesn't crumble when someone else walks away. That man? He terrifies her because she expected weakness. And instead, she's about to witness your rise. Number 3. The void is the gift. Now you're in the void. The quiet. The emptiness. No texts, no plans, no comfort, just silence and your own thoughts. Most men run from this space. They jump into distractions, new women, parties, work, anything to avoid the echo of solitude. But not you, not this time. You're going to sit in that void and own it, because what feels like loneliness is actually freedom. This is the first time in months, maybe years, that you're no longer orbiting someone else's world, that space, that silence. It's not punishment, it's the gift. It's the space you need to rebuild. When a man loses someone he loves, he has two choices. He either runs from the pain and repeats the cycle, or he uses it to forge discipline, control, and clarity. The Stoics believed that adversity reveals the truth. In the void, there's nowhere to hide. Your ego gets exposed. Your fears come crawling out. But so does your potential. You'll start to realize how much of your identity was wrapped around her. How many of your choices were made just to please her, to keep her, to avoid losing her. And now that she's gone, you're left with you, the raw, unfiltered version. And that's exactly who you need to meet. You start waking up earlier, lifting heavier, reading more, creating, thinking, building. You stop wasting time on validation and start investing in yourself. No one's watching, no one's clapping, and that's perfect. Because this transformation isn't for her. It's not to win her back. It's for you. The void strips away the noise and forces you to look inward. And what you find there, the strength, the focus, the vision, it's the foundation of the man you're becoming. And here's the dark irony. While you're in the void evolving, she feels it. She may not say it. She might be with someone else. But she can feel the cord has been cut, that your energy is no longer circling her. And that shift, that absence of need, it unsettles her. Because now you're no longer accessible. You're no longer hers. You've become unknown, unreachable. That's when her panic starts to whisper, what if he never comes back? Number 4, kill the fantasy. Here's the truth that most men avoid because it hurts too damn much. You weren't in love with her. You were in love with the fantasy of her, the version you built in your mind, the girl who never left, the one who always cared, the one who saw you, understood you, chose you every time. But that version, she never existed. What you were holding on to wasn't real. It was a projection, a highlight reel. And that fantasy is the anchor keeping you stuck in the past. You kept replaying the good moments, didn't you? The laughter, the way she looked at you in the beginning, the promises. But those were fragments, carefully selected memories your mind clings to so you don't have to face the truth. She changed. Or maybe she was never who you thought she was. Either way, it doesn't matter. Because what does matter is this: you're going to kill that fantasy. You're going to bury the illusion so the real healing can begin. This is where dark psychology kicks in. The more you chase a fantasy, the more you bleed value. She senses it. She knows you're holding on to an image of her that's long gone, and that desperation repels her. Women don't regret men who beg. They regret men who let go, who walk away without a word, who see through the illusion and refuse to play the game. When you stop romanticizing the past, you rob her of her power over you. You become immune to her pull, because you're not in love with the real her anymore, and the fantasy has been shattered. Killing the fantasy is a violent act. It takes courage. You'll have to confront every lie you told yourself to keep the story alive. You'll feel like you're losing something sacred, but what you're really doing is gaining clarity. You're reclaiming your mind, your focus, your identity. You stop seeing her as the one that got away and start seeing her as the lesson I needed to learn. And that shift, that mindset, it breaks the spell. She thought she had you on a string, thought you'd always see her as the ideal, but now she feels it. Your eyes have cleared, your fantasy has died, and all that's left is cold, beautiful detachment. That's when the regret starts to creep in. That's when her mask starts to crack. Number 5. Detachment is power. Here's where everything shifts. You've faced the pain, you've survived the collapse, you've sat in the void and burned the fantasy to the ground. Now comes the most powerful move you'll ever make. Not rage, not revenge, but detachment. This is where you stop reacting, you stop explaining, you stop needing anything from her. Not closure, not validation, not even attention. You don't hate her, you don't love her. You're just done. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually done. That's when the panic hits her. You see, women are highly attuned to emotional energy. When you were desperate, she could feel it. When you were still clinging, she knew. But now, you're different. Cold, clear, calm. You no longer orbit her. You no longer bleed emotion into the connection. And that silence, that absence, it speaks louder than any message you could send. Because you're not acting out. You're not trying to get her back. You're not trying at all. You're simply gone, mentally moved on, even if you're still physically in the same city, the same room, the same space. Stoic detachment isn't about pretending you don't care. It's about no longer needing her to care. It's the refusal to be emotionally manipulated, the refusal to break your own peace just to be understood. That's the power. You are no longer an emotional servant. You don't answer texts that insult your intelligence. You don't chase someone who walked away. You don't explain yourself to someone who already made their decision. You let people feel the consequences of losing access to you. And that shift, it rewires the dynamic. Because when you're detached, she's no longer in control. You are. She might test you. She might try to come back subtly, just checking on you. Hope you're okay. I miss us. Nope, you don't engage. Not because you're bitter, but because you're free. You've mastered your emotions, and that makes you a rare man, a man of value, a man who doesn't need to chase anything because he's already whole. She thought she broke you. What she really did was wake you up. Number 6, the return of masculine frame. Now that you've detached, the old version of you, the one who was chasing, over-explaining, constantly reacting, that man is dead. And what takes his place is something rare, something powerful, your masculine frame. This is the foundation of who you are when you're centered, grounded, unmoved. You're no longer trying to be everything for her. You're not bending, pleasing, adjusting yourself just to keep her attention. You've returned to you, the man you were before the overthinking, before the heartbreak, before the chase. And that man doesn't chase approval. He commands respect. Your frame is everything. It's how you carry yourself. It's how you walk into a room without needing to prove anything. It's the eye contact that says, "I don't need to impress you." It's the silence that says, "I'm not afraid to lose you." Women test men constantly, often without even realizing it. Why? Because they're wired to feel safe around strength. But strength isn't volume, it's not control, it's composure, stillness, presence. And the moment you rebuild that frame, you stop being an option and become a standard. You start putting yourself first again, not selfishly, but with purpose. You're in the gym because your body reflects your discipline. You're building your mind because clarity is your weapon. You set boundaries, not to control others, but to protect your energy. You speak less, observe more, and people start noticing. Not because you're seeking attention, but because your energy shifts. You're rooted, unshaken. And that unspoken confidence, it sends a message to her louder than any words ever could. You don't have access to this man anymore. She'll feel the difference. She'll sense the distance, not the physical kind, but the emotional sovereignty you've stepped into. The part of you that used to shrink around her is gone. You no longer seek permission to be yourself. That stability, that strength, that indifference, it's magnetic, because now you're the man she has to reach for, the one she underestimated, the one who no longer needs anything from her. Number 7, the mirror effect. Here's where things get interesting. You've rebuilt, you've detached, you've locked into your masculine frame, and now, without even trying, you become a mirror. Not just for her, but for everyone who once took you for granted. Your silence, your glow-up, your unbothered energy, it reflects back to her exactly what she lost. Not the man you used to be, but the evolved version, the disciplined, focused, emotionally untouchable version. And when she sees that, when she feels that contrast between the man she left and the man you've become, that's when the regret kicks in hard. You don't have to rub it in her face. You don't have to post a "look at me now" thirst trap or flex for attention. You're not performing, you're simply being. That's what makes the mirror so brutal. Because it forces her to confront the fact that she didn't break you, she built you. That every tear, every night you spent questioning your worth, every moment of doubt, it all became fuel. And now, the man she walked away from has become a version of himself she can't touch anymore. Here's the truth. Most people don't miss you. They miss the control they had over you, the access, the comfort of knowing you'd always be there. But now, you're not angry, you're not bitter, you're just gone. And the man who used to chase doesn't even look back. That's what burns. That's what makes her panic. Because you've become the man she thought she wanted, but now you're no longer available to her. This is where Stoicism and dark psychology intertwine. You don't retaliate, you don't gloat. You let your presence, or lack of it, do the talking. The more you elevate, the louder your silence becomes. You don't need to prove anything. You are the proof. You became the mirror. And what she sees in it, that's her burden to carry, not yours. Number 8, the energy shift. Energy doesn't lie, and whether you believe in vibes, psychology, or raw instincts, people feel your shift before they ever hear your words. You used to carry the energy of lack, of need, of over-investing. She could feel it in every message you sent, every double text, every over-apology. You were operating from fear, fear of losing her, fear of not being enough, fear of being alone. But now, that energy is gone. You've shifted. You no longer chase because you no longer need. You've stepped into the rarest frequency a man can emit, calm self-possession. This isn't arrogance, it's not ego, it's quiet, focused confidence. You don't speak as much, you don't explain yourself. Your words are fewer, sharper, deliberate. People can sense you've been through something and that you came out stronger. Women feel it instantly. They can't always name it, but they know when a man doesn't need validation, when he isn't secretly hoping to be chosen. That energy, it's heavy, grounded, intimidating, and strangely, magnetic. The woman who left you is now watching you from a distance, maybe in silence, maybe through subtle reach-outs, because the emotional tether is gone. You've changed frequencies. You're not vibrating in pain, need, or regret anymore. You're locked into purpose, discipline, stillness, and it confuses her. You're no longer acting like the man who got left behind. You're moving like a man who's outgrown the entire dynamic. That shift, that subtle but undeniable change in how you carry yourself, that's what gets into her head. And here's the kicker. This energy doesn't just affect her, it affects everyone. Co-workers, strangers, family. Because people respond to what you broadcast. And when you walk into a room with zero neediness, zero performative energy, zero desperation, you change the atmosphere. You become the one people want to understand, the one they start asking about, the one who no longer chases, because everything you need is within. Number 9. No contact is a statement. No contact isn't a trick. It's not a reverse psychology stunt. It's not how to get her back in 30 days. No contact is a statement, a powerful, permanent boundary that says, I respect myself too much to stick around where I'm no longer valued. It's not about punishing her, it's about protecting you, because every time you reach out, every time you break silence just to check in, you leak energy. You reopen wounds, you weaken your frame. But when you hold that silence, when you truly cut off the emotional pipeline, that's when everything changes. Most men treat no contact like a countdown, like they're waiting for her to miss them, to text back, to crawl back into the story. But a Stoic man doesn't wait. He moves, he builds. He doesn't pause his evolution in hopes that she'll notice. He becomes someone who doesn't need her to. No contact is the moment you finally stop giving her the emotional leverage. You're not trying to be forgiven. You're not chasing closure. You're not proving your worth. You've said all there is to say, and now your silence speaks louder than your words ever could. And it will mess with her, because women are used to being the ones who walk away while the man lingers. Texts, waits, wonders. But when you don't, when she checks her phone and finds nothing, no reactions, no likes, no passive-aggressive stories, just space. That's when doubt creeps in. That's when she starts replaying things in her head. That's when the questions start. Did I underestimate him? Did I lose something real? Is he really gone? But by then, it's not about her anymore. No contact isn't revenge. It's healing. It's the discipline to put yourself first, to break the addiction to her attention, to teach your nervous system that peace doesn't come from being wanted, it comes from being whole. And once you realize that, you never go back, because no woman, no matter how beautiful, how magnetic, how perfect, is worth losing yourself over. Number 10. Your rise is her wake-up call. You were never just healing, you were evolving. Every moment of silence, every tear, every lonely night. It wasn't just survival, it was the groundwork, the foundation. You weren't broken, you were under construction. And now, you've risen, mind sharp, purpose clear, energy unshakable. You've become the version of yourself that no longer fits into the story she left behind. And here's the twist. The stronger you become, the more she begins to feel the consequences of walking away. She didn't expect this. She thought you'd chase, thought you'd spiral, thought you'd wait. But instead, you transformed. And now your very existence, your calm, your discipline, your glow, is a mirror she can't avoid. She starts questioning herself, starts comparing. Why did I let him go? How did I not see this version of him before? What if someone else gets what I gave up? That's the panic, that's the wake-up call. Because your silence didn't just say, I'm done. It screamed, you were never the source of my power. This is the moment where you stop seeing her as the goal and start realizing you were the prize all along. She didn't leave you because you weren't enough. She left because she couldn't see past the version of you that was still evolving. But that version is gone now, buried under discipline, sharpened by pain, reborn through purpose. And what stands in his place? A man who doesn't flinch, who doesn't chase, who doesn't settle for half-love or emotional scraps. You're no longer trying to prove your worth to anyone. You are your worth. Every rep in the gym, every early morning, every moment you chose silence over reaction, it built something. And now you walk into rooms different, you speak different, you move different, and she feels it. Whether she says it or not, whether she ever comes back or not, trust me, she knows. Your rise isn't about revenge, it's not about getting her back. It's about becoming so whole that losing her feels like a blessing in disguise. So now you know, healing isn't weakness, it's transformation. It's not about moving on quickly, it's about moving on completely. No half steps, no games, just cold, clear growth. The kind that doesn't ask for attention, the kind that doesn't beg for closure. You took your pain and you built yourself brick by brick into a man who can't be shaken by her or anyone else. And that kind of evolution, it echoes. It haunts the people who thought you'd never rise. Remember this, the panic you once felt is now hers. The silence that once broke you is now your weapon. And the man you are today, he owes nothing to the past, but he's never forgetting the lessons it burned into his soul. You didn't just survive heartbreak, you used it. You became someone who no longer needs to chase because you finally realized you were always the prize. If this hit home, if something inside you woke up, then this isn't the end, it's your starting line. Subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, turn on notifications, and join the brotherhood we're building here at Stoic Blessing. And drop it in the comments one last time. I rise, I don't return. I'll see you in the next one. Stay grounded, stay dangerous, stay free.